This live is going to be about more of family issues, y'all. Domestic violence and family related issues with significant others, sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, and whatever. Welcome back to the Advanced Insight channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so this is the I did several lives about the issue with one of the sons, right? So let's talk about this because I mean, people that have been raised like in old school environments, there's a lot of narcissism in the family. So believe it or not, more narcissists will advocate for siblings being closer than empaths will sometimes. And this is why. Narcissists don't prevent the deadly outcome, right? So you see it all the time in the media. You got brothers killing brothers. There was just one case where a mother told her own son to shoot his sister. They had been at it for years. But this is what the narcissist mother does. This is how she handles the family. Instead of telling them to stay apart, separate, leave one another alone, she goes over there. Her daughter had already filed a domestic violence protection order saying that her family was going to kill her. And that's exactly how it went down because the mother tells the brother, shoot your sister. And thought they was going to get away with it, y'all. So, you know, a lot of times you think that your parents are empathic because they're telling you to be close. Go help your brother, go help your sister. But actually, they don't really care nothing about neither one of y'all because they are willing, for one, they know you're miserable with your brother or sister. Okay, they know y'all don't like each other. They don't really want neither one of y'all to be happier than they are. So I went over the last few lives. You got to go watch the lives. And on that live, there's a name being called out, which is the son Elijah. Okay. Now he has an older brother named Isaiah. And Isaiah is in no contact, okay, with Elijah. It was a long time coming, but Isaiah determined after many, many years, I think it is best that I separate from my biological brother. Now, Elijah doesn't like that, of course. I'm in a minimal contact, which means I still communicate with Elijah, but I'm staying away from him. Okay. So now, as an empathic mom, what I did for years, I saw all of the red flags, right? I always knew that Elijah did not give a fuck about Isaiah. But when I was raising them and they were growing up, I didn't really heavily point that out because, for one, they're kids and I'm trying to give it time to change. So I'm thinking that, so who says, okay, you front boo. So some person named Goob. Goob, this ain't really the kind of live for that. So just stop with the negative comments before I block you, because I can block you and I really don't want to have to do that. So if you want to learn something, come into the live. Nobody's fronting. What I'm doing is telling a story that maybe you can learn from or help someone else. So that's what I'm doing. It's no fronting or whatever that means. I don't know what your point is. So this is learning time, basically, is what this is. So anyway, going back to the story. So with Isaiah, when they were young, of course, they're in contact with one another because all three of my sons are being raised in the same household and they're all my relatives. And so, I talked about in my lives with the favorite thing and how I feel about that. Um, that's that narcissistic parenting style that all the kids are the same. No matter how they treating you or how they're acting, they're just all the same. That's so not true. So with Elijah, over the past couple of days, he started threatening to come to the house, do stuff, saying he'll do something later or whatever. And I told him, I said, if you don't stop threatening me, I'm gonna call the police. He continued to threaten me. I called the police. I actually called the police. So what happened within 24 hours of that? Elijah's behavior improved over the phone. Because like I said, I'm in a minimal no contact. So I love Bakugo. Am I pronouncing it right? Is that your name? Hello to you. So I love Bakugo. So Bakugo. Is that how you pronounce it? So spell out how you would pronounce it. And hello to you and welcome to the live. I appreciate you coming in. So I called the police, and this is something I don't really have to do with Isaiah. Isaiah's still living at home. Elijah has moved out. So I just want to clarify that. I can't go over all the details. Y'all gotta watch the lives. Watch my lives. I just started uploading lives. The last 6 lives will go over this story. So it's kind of like as the world turns. Ali27, hello to you too. Thank you for tapping into the live and being here with me at Advanced Insight Channel. I appreciate you coming in. Okay, so anyway, when kids are younger, I don't think it's a good idea to be like, saying, well, your brother hates you, this and that. And it's not cool to do that. I mean, you want to try to have them close if you can, but to be honest and living in a reality, the kids, if you got an empathic mom, narcissistic dad, and you got all these different personalities, the kids won't usually come out normal, especially if one or both of the parents is not getting their life together and parenting the children. So you may have one that's empathic, one that's maybe want to be a normal, maybe want to be narcissistic, one could be a undiagnosed psychopath. Elijah sometimes behaves more on the level of an undiagnosed psychopath. Okay. And all the Black mentors were like, oh, don't say that about your son just because that was mentioned in a court hearing. That's not true. Bullshit. They not hearing him call me, telling me how he wish his younger brother, not wish it per se, but maybe he's committed suicide, laughing and shit. These Black mentors are not on the phone when Elijah's telling me he's considering throwing my baby boy off a fucking balcony of his. And I gotta go tell my baby boy, man, stay away from this man's crib house. Stay away from his crib. So I don't parent like narcissists where I hide the information and then you go over to your brother's house and you didn't even know that your brother wanted to throw you off a balcony. Would that be empathy to you? Me as a mom, if I know one brother wants to throw the other one off the balcony and he's stating it, wouldn't you tell your other son, hey, stay away from your brother's house? What kind of empathetic mom wants her sons to kill one another? Wouldn't you try to stop this? A narcissistic parent wouldn't try to stop it. But see, the problem is when an empathetic parent stops it, people will say, oh, she's separating her kids. She don't want her kids to be close and all of this shit. So, and it's not true. So what happened was, as they get older, because Isaiah's in a form of no contact, he's not angry with Elijah. I'm not teaching anger. But just because I went and had more sons, my firstborn son does not have to live in torture of his siblings. He doesn't have to live being name called, attacked, jumped in alleyways, robbed. This is all the stuff that Isaiah has had to deal with, dealing with my other kids. He doesn't have to continue to live his life that way. Okay. Isaiah being my son does not mean he signed up for some sort of lifelong torture from any of my family members. Okay. It just doesn't work like that. So we were talking about an incident, and it was an incident when they were like young teens. And Isaiah wasn't the type to stay out all night, neither were my other kids. So with my kids, 10 o'clock comes around, I ain't heard from you in 2 hours, your phone's going to voicemail, something has happened. I come looking for you. So we were all in my SUV, and I had two of my sons in my SUV, Elijah and my baby boy. Okay. And Elijah was very specific in telling me not to look for Isaiah. It would be like me knowing that we can't find my little sister and me telling my grandmother, let's not try to go find Tina. I would never have done that. If my little sister's missing, I would have said, I'll ride with you. Let's go find Tina. I mean, the way Elijah treats his siblings, I could not on an ongoing basis for the rest of my life as an adult treat my siblings that bad. I just don't have it in me. I'm not on speaking terms with my little sister, but there's nothing in me that wants to throw her off of a balcony. There's nothing in me that desires to throw her out of a window. I just ain't that mad at her, y'all. Okay. Me and my little sister, we could stay in no contact for the rest of our lives. I just don't feel that way. So I know it's very abnormal for one brother to be desiring to throw his brother off a balcony. It's very abnormal. So what I do snitch it out, but I don't snitch it out in a way. I tell. I would want you to tell me if one of my siblings had an apartment and they said they want to throw me off of a balcony, please tell me. Please tell me. Please prevent this horrific potential act from happening. Never underestimate a threat, especially consistent threats. I mean, Elijah has been threatening his family. He began threatening his family. My earliest memory of his threats towards the family began in 2022. That I know of. Now, has he made threats prior to that? Yes, he did, but not towards me per se, but sort of doing blackmail type stuff and stuff like that. So there's a person leaving a comment. His YouTube name is Def. And he or she is saying, hey, guess what? So guess what? What you want me to guess, Def? Because I'm looking at your YouTube channel name. I'm not going to assume that you're bad, but it's called Def. Okay, we all got to die. What you want me to guess, Def? What you want me to guess? And hello to you, Def, since that's your YouTube channel name. And if any of y'all got questions, I'll answer your questions for free, of course, while you're on this live. Okay, Def don't have nothing to say. Okay. So, hey, guess what, Def? You on my live, participate in a positive way. I'm able to pick up on the red flag. Okay, your YouTube name is Def. My YouTube name is Advanced Insight Channel. And, hey, guess what? I'm going to tell you guess what. You on the live. That's guess what. Okay, don't come in here starting mess because I really rather not have to block you. I mean, that's not. I'm not overly emotional. Where as soon as somebody leave a comment, I'm just clicking block, block, block. I mean, let's give a guy a chance. Guess what? Death might have something good to say. I don't know because he ain't saying nothing. He awfully quiet. Okay, so let's proceed. So Isaiah and I were talking, and what I don't encourage is hate. But what I do encourage is your right to live a life without being threatened, without being insulted. So Elijah has this big thing, and he has this anger that Isaiah lives at home, right? Um, and people of color, we're the most hated. And it's probably going on with white people too. It's probably going on with all families, right? Where no matter the race, you're hated for reaping your benefits, right? So if I had a family member that left me their condo or apartment or their house and I choose to live in it, the rest of the family hate me for it. I'm just giving an example. So Elijah has a lot of hatred for the fact that Isaiah lives at his residence. This is me and Isaiah's residence, okay? This is where we live and we have a right to come home to it. And this is what I told Elijah. Stop acting like we gotta move. I asked my son Elijah, I said, are you moving out of your apartment? It's the same way. Just like you ain't moving out of your apartment unless you get evicted, we ain't moving out of ours. I don't allow Elijah in the house anymore. He cannot visit and come around. That is my boundary, and that is the consequence for his ongoing abusive, drug addicted, violent, threatening behavior. And that's why ain't nobody dead. Now, a narcissistic parent, they're pro predator. They always defending the predator, so they'll let them come over here. Then the sons get into a big fight. Somebody killed, somebody gets shot. The typical black tradition, y'all. Just we all got to be together no matter what, ignoring the threats and stuff like that. But that wouldn't make me very advanced, right? How would I be advanced, and how would you be advanced with me if you allowed that? So Isaiah and I were having a discussion because he gets a chance to vent, and we were talking about the time when I couldn't find him, and I drove around up to 3 hours looking for Isaiah. He just went off the radar. Elijah was telling me, Elijah was an early teenager telling me, don't look for him. Like, wow. The bottom line is he never really cared about Isaiah. That's the truth of the matter. So what happens is when you grow up and Isaiah's in a no contact, I'm validating how he feels in some sense. And I'm finally telling him on this particular day, your brother was telling me not to even look for you, dog. And, me and Isaiah laughed about it. And I said, I'm telling you this, Isaiah, because as you go through your no contact, I just want you to know the truth. He never cared about you, even when you were 16 years old. And I'm going to tell you the outcome of this. I didn't listen to Elijah because, for one, I'm an adult. I'm not going to listen to no 13-year-old kid telling me not to go look for my firstborn son. I'm not listening to this child. I said, no, I'm going to continue to look for your brother, is what I told him at the time, and my son. The right thing to do is to go find him. But I will never forget what he did. That was a very early sign of Elijah's lack of empathy towards not just Isaiah, but me. He's telling me not to find my own child. That's abnormal. Thank God I knew not to listen to him. So I drove around for hours and hours. This was many, many years ago, y'all. I drove around for hours and hours, and I wouldn't stop looking for Isaiah. I kept driving around the mall, around the library that had closed. I was up and down these streets. Anywhere that I knew Isaiah would walk, I kept looking for Isaiah. And guess what? I found him, y'all, and he was injured. He was walking down the street injured. Okay. I knew he was injured when I first seen him walking because I saw him limping and kind of holding his side. I pull over. I said, Isaiah, pull over. I'm actually in the street, so I'm preparing to pull over actually. So I roll my window down. Isaiah, mom's here, and Isaiah, he looked like he had seen the Lord. He was so happy that I found him. Now, if I hadn't found him, I think his goal was to walk home, but that would have been about a 45-minute to an hour walk, if not longer. If he would have walked, it was very late. He would have been passing by some troubled motels. Also, he would have been walking with an injury. So that's a risk because when you're walking with the injury, you're at higher risk of passing out, falling down, breaking a knee, and stuff like that. So I found him, found out what happened, and went over in the mall parking lot, called the police because it was something, kind of weird about the story. Because I'm like, Isaiah, what happened to you? So I called the police, and the police came right away. So come to find out, there was already a call put in from some other people that there was a dispute and there was someone attacked in the mall, which was my son Isaiah. Okay. At the time, I'm not tripping. I'm not arguing with no 13-year-old that told me not to go look for him. He said, don't go look for his brother. And I left it alone. I'm not the type of parent. I'm not torturing no kid or arguing with no kid, telling the kid, bitch, motherfucker, you a low down motherfucker, not to want to go find your brother, bitch. I'm not that type of mom. Okay. So I just told him when he said, I said, that's not right, Elijah. We should go find your brother. I would do the same thing for you. Now, Elijah has reaped great benefits for me. Okay. He was supposed to be charged with 3 felonies. I went into a detective's office and negotiated with them to not file charges against Elijah. I have put my life in danger when a mini SWAT team was at my crib, refusing to allow the arrest in the way that they wanted it, which could have put Elijah at risk of getting shot down by the police, or because I'm refusing to obey their orders in the way that they want, they could have put a bullet in me or a few bullets in me. No matter what I've done for Elijah, he will declare me as evil. But most evil people ain't taking a bullet for you. Okay. Not a completely evil person. Now, do I have flaws? Yes. But completely evil? No. I would say I have flaws. But the thing is, I'm evil because I'm not continuing to have his back and put my life in danger. I'm not going to continue to do it, right? So because of that, he declares I'm evil. So the whole moral of the story is this, y'all. It's not okay not to notify the other people that they have an enemy among them. It's not okay just because it's your kid. It's not okay that I continue to tell Isaiah, be close to your brothers, do this or do that, when he's constantly being threatened by my other children. None of that's okay. So as an empathic parent, I don't want nobody hurt. So I keep the separation. Now, people looking from the outside, they'll say all kind of narcissistic shit. They'll say, well, your mama got favorites. Yeah, I always thought she loved that one more. They'll say all kind of narcissistic shit. But at the end of the day, and some of them are actually, they might be a little mad because they know you saving their life. Because as quiet as it's kept, y'all, some relatives want the news. They want somebody to get shot. So they know when you separate males and females, male on male, female on female, or male and female, whatever the dynamics or the siblings, they know that nobody's going to die or get seriously injured. Who close to who and who's not close, none of that matters. What matters is that the siblings do not unalive or seriously injure one another. And I talked about this in another live, this thing with favorites, right? Isaiah definitely doesn't deserve it. And this is why. He's not threatening Elijah. He's never told me not to look for Elijah. When Elijah was a runaway and out there in the streets on drugs, Isaiah or Daniel, they always said, go find our brother. But see, this is the thing with Elijah. He does not treat us in the way that we treat him. You think Elijah gonna take a bullet for me? You think Elijah is gonna walk into a detective's office and say, don't file felonies on my mom? What he does, and I discussed this in the live, last September, he allows his white, morbidly obese girlfriend to put her big fat white fist in my side. That's what he allows. This has always been going on. When Elijah was telling me not to go find Isaiah, when Isaiah was in trouble, when they were 13 and 16 years old, Isaiah being about 16, that was always going on. He's never cared. It's just that what happens is Elijah grows up and his behaviors become more obvious. Just like I just told you, I call it the police arm. And I told him, I'm going to call the police. And unfortunately, how I have to protect myself is, he says, well, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Man, you might not come out of here the same. Okay, this ain't the place. I had to tell Elijah, I don't come to your apartment starting trouble. And the blessing is he's moved out. That's a really good thing. But he cares nothing about my children or his siblings. He just doesn't. And it's something that's always been going on because it's part of his nature. You can't teach undiagnosed psychopaths that done turned on God. The only hope he would have would be to get rid of what he calls his God complex. On one live, I went over that he said he's going to have a witch, a voodoo witch, put a death curse on me and kill me. That's not going to work. If he tried that, he would die before I did. Because he's in getting involved with voodoo, and he don't know enough about it, and it's just not a safe thing to be getting involved with. So basically that's it. You know, domestic violence amongst family and siblings. But I told Isaiah what really went down that time. You know, as your kids and relatives get older, it's okay. I'm not pro-predator. Empaths are not protected enough. Nobody ever tells us, well, you know what? One time when you was like 16, your uncle peeked in the room and we had to stop him from raping you. We had to tell him, don't go in the room. Then next thing you know, you're 30 years old and you've been violently raped by your own uncle. But it would have helped if somebody would have really told you that your uncle was peeking in on you. Maybe you could have moved and went with another relative or something like that. So, you know, keeping secrets won't help save the family. I warn both my sons when Elijah makes threats. When he made threats towards the baby boy, I said, he's threatening to throw you off his balcony. Please stay away from his home. Because guess what? Even though Elijah's an asshole and a very disrespectful son, I don't want him in trouble, y'all. I don't want him in prison because he's really done that. But take threats serious. especially when somebody continues the threats. Somebody can threaten your life for up to 10 years or more before they actually do it. That's the thing with threats. It don't always happen the same day that they make the threat. So that's that situation. So let's go on with the second domestic violence situation, okay? Because I got my situation under control. I'm not going to have Elijah in my home. That's a permanent choice. Permanent. If Elijah want to meet with me, he can meet with me at the Cheesecake Factory, okay? I'm not going around the girlfriend that he has that he's in approval of putting a fist in my side. I'm not going around that. These consequences are permanent because Elijah is a abuser. Going forward, like I told him, every time you threaten me, I'm calling the police. The police was actually willing to go over there and potentially arrest him this time, y'all. He said, well, you want me to go over there? I said, no, it's okay. I just want to put it in the, I want to notify you just in case he does come over here. At least I've notified you of what's going on, so I'm protecting myself, and you know that I was threatened, and you know how I feel about it before he shows up. Because you don't want to put nothing past him. You don't want to say, well, okay, he's not going to come, but it actually one of these times does it, okay? So I'm very happy with the result. A lot of people, this is the bottom line. No matter who Elijah deals with, he can paint the picture that he's not the favorite and I'm keeping him from his siblings, which I'm not. Isaiah made his own choice. Isaiah has his own struggles. Whether Elijah understands it or not, he views Isaiah and I like we don't struggle with everyday life and how to make it and stuff. We struggle as well. We get stressed out as well. And Isaiah and I have just decided we wish the best for Elijah, but we have both decided we are unable to take on his abuse. And we have a right to do that. Isaiah and I, we can't function like that. We don't even deserve to live like that. But the difference is Isaiah's a brother. He's a big brother. I'm a mom. So I'm choosing to have some level of contact with Elijah because he still is my son. So I guess if you want to say there's some level of fairness there, is I'm still willing to be his mother, even though he is abusive, but with boundaries. He cussed me out, called me all kind of bitches, threatened me. I called the police. Within 24 hours, he was just fine. I was having a good conversation with him, giving him some advice, and he was fine. No problems. But he know them police got called too. And this is another thing. We don't call the police enough. We got to start doing that. I told him when he was calling me all the names and threatening me, he going to come to my house. I said, man, I'm going to call you back. I need to call the police. It took me a while to call him back or get back on the phone with him. So he know I haven't called the police. The police called me back from a private number. And see, you want to leave it right there. But if you don't minimize the in-person contact and I'm back and forth, the person is more likely to do the threat when you letting them in your house, y'all. That's when it's going to pop off. The abuser has to have access to the home to complete what they want to do, or they don't always want to do it. It just ends up happening. So I'm going to go on to the second domestic violence situation. So there was a sister. I had an opportunity to have some phone contact with a sister that's kind of like living her life a little rough right now. She's going through a phase where she's not on the right side of life, but she is good natured in her own way. And so she's in a very vulnerable situation. She pretty much broke up with one abuser that could have been dangerous. So she ended up with this other guy about her same age. I had an opportunity to talk to the gentleman. And the Lord told me to tell him to be nice to the lady. I said, be nice to her. Be good to her. He said, okay, yes, ma'am, he would. Within 3 days, while they were staying at a specific location, while she's laying down and they're having a disagreement, he busts her in her head and hits her eye and chin and stuff like that. So he assaults her. Within 3 days, I just told this man to be nice to her. Come to find out, this is not his first time assaulting her. She's known him since she was young, since they were kids. And he's actually assaulted her before. And I won't say what the injury was, but he injured her body with heat, y'all, with some heat. This crazy man in the summertime, y'all, is taking a heated object. I'm not going to say what the heated object is. And he's heating his skin up with this heated object. And it's summer. Okay, so he's badass crazy. This is why we got American crime femicide, right? Black women, they don't know when to get out. I'm going to tell you about a situation I was in. I went to this man's house one time. He was older than me. He was trying to date me. I went inside his house. I was there no more than 5 minutes. This was before I knew, this was when Viagra pills, the Viagra pills that men use to help them with being stimulated or whatever, which I don't have nothing against a man that's using them. But at the time, I was a whole lot younger, going to this house. This man, I was in there 5 minutes. He has these open Viagra pills on this little bitty counter thing that was by his door. Now he could see that I'm looking at the pills. I had just found out what those pills were for from some of my play cousins that lived on the West Coast. I had some play cousins that adopted me. And one of them died. One of the play cousins died, and the other play cousin has moved to another West Coast state, but she's still on the West Coast as well. So I saw these Viagra pills. He could tell I'm reading the pills, right? Like I'm looking down, like I'm not touching the pills, but I'm reading them. Do you think this Negro attempted to move these freaking pills? You know what I did? I told him I gotta go. I got something to do. Catch you later. I never communicated with this guy again. So a lot of times, especially with black women, when they getting beat up and stuff, they ignore the first red flag. Like when you go in his crib and you see he got all his pictures hanging crooked, he got fucking pills that should definitely be in a medicine cabinet. Because if he would have had these Viagra pills in a medicine cabinet, I never would have known what they were, because I don't go in people's medicine cabinet. Okay. It's not my place. That's a boundary I just wouldn't cross. I don't creep around in people's stuff like that. But he had these pills out. I never used this restroom. But this is the thing. He has Viagra pills. He could call a bunch of people over. They all take a pill and rape me all day and night. Chop my ass up, throw me in the garbage can. Right? All of this is preventable if you pay attention to the first red flag. So my point is, with the sister, with this domestic violence situation, within 3 days, she was beat up and assaulted, unfortunately, after I had already warned or put in a word to the young man. He ain't that freaking young. He's too old to be beating up on women. Very cold-blooded dude. But check this out. He's not empathic. Now, if you tell me something like that, you say, be nice to so-and-so now, I'm going to remember it. It's going to be on my mind. It's going to protect me. But even me telling this narcissist to be nice to her. I'm not even knowing he's already assaulted her. I'm not knowing this, but the Lord put it on my heart to tell him to be nice to her. Does it sound like bashing her in her head or taking her head, hitting it on a counter or a nightstand or whatever he did? I saw a photo of it. Does that sound like taking care of her? No, but he did it anyway. Bottom line is, they're not listening, y'all. Just like my son Elijah, he's not listening. If I say, you can come in my house, be calm, be nonviolent, he's not listening. There's no empathy there to listen because they don't give a fuck about you. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is when you have siblings and you got relatives and it happens like this, you say, well, oh, this is a new thing. They've been not caring. Elijah never loved Isaiah. When he was telling me not to go look for him, it's 11 p.m. This is not like Isaiah, 16 years old. He would never not answer his phone to this day. If Isaiah doesn't answer his phone and he don't come in and show up at a certain time, he has a consistent pattern of showing up. If Isaiah doesn't show up, I go look for him right away. Because that's just not something he would do. I'm the same way. If I go into town today and I go take care of my business and I don't show back up, Isaiah got to know something wrong. Anyone that's talking to me has to know there's something wrong. So domestic violence. I mean, okay, so with me, with domestic violence, how do you prevent it? Okay, because it all starts back up when you get boyfriends, get married and stuff like that. So how is it preventable? Marry people that love the Lord like you do. That will save some of it. It may not be, I'm not marrying anybody that don't love the Lord. Marry somebody, talk to people. You know, a lot of people, they don't want to talk to people on the phone. Talk. Have a waiting period. So many men and women would not be in such miserable relationships if they just said, you know, we're out of town. See you New Year's, right? Have a waiting period, a preparation period. A period where both the man and woman can lower their anxiety. Because there's a lot of anxiety when you're entering into new relationships. Black women, stop arguing with men laying down. I don't care if you've known them your whole life. Protect the man more. Don't argue with people laying down. This sister was laying down before she got bashed in the head, hit in the face and stuff like that. And this gentleman has already injured her and has a permanent bodily injury on her from a hot item. He loved hot items. He taking this other hot item. I'm not going to say what it is. It's something similar to like a blow dryer, heater, something on that level. And he takes it and heats his skin up. The Negro's fucking out of his mind, y'all. It's fucking summertime. So if I start taking hot fans and blow dryers and electric heaters and I'm blowing all this shit on my legs and arms and face and shit, I'm a weirdo. It's something fucking wrong with me. Okay? But this is the type of person you definitely don't want to be fucking around with and arguing with. My son Elijah told me, he said he's gonna put Post-it notes all on my door. That's kind of a weird threat. What the Post-it notes gonna say? I'm gonna just take a bunch of Post-it notes, Mom, and put it on your door. I told the police that too. I say he threatening me, but also he want to put sticky notes all on my door and shit. That's why the police want to go over there and get him and arrest him. Because, see, we know it just ain't a sticky note threat, right? We know that that's kind of an odd type of thing to say. And those odd type of things that they say could lead to somebody being seriously hurt. So pay attention to these weird traits. I really feel bad for this sister. In the meantime, there's another older gentleman that wants to talk to her that she's considering giving him play. She ain't learning. Stay out of relationships. She just got assaulted. And already, at such a fast pace, she's interested in moving into another one. How to avoid these domestic violence situations? Get married. Stop dating. Stop having boyfriends. Get out of the dating situation where there's nobody accountable for you. A boyfriend is not going to be accountable for you. Okay, he's just not. He has no invested interest in you. I'm going to speak about mainly the boyfriends because girlfriends can apply as well for men, because 25% of domestic violence abuse cases are males. Men are less likely to report abuse, but actually, that's a lot of men being abused. Men getting beat up, attacked. My son Elijah, last September, before the big white girl that he with put the fist in my side, she had already jumped on him. So see, that's the thing with these narcissists. They go find other female abusers to beat them up. And that's the thing, I don't need to beat you up. Somebody else gonna do it because that karma is just gonna come around. I mean, you can't expect a woman to really have a high amount of respect for you and you're threatening to beat her up or whatever. So yeah, that's the thing. Domestic violence, it's bad, y'all. It ain't worth it. And I hope that Viagra example made sense. I promise you this. Anybody I ever been in a domestic violence situation with, there always was some weirdo behavior that they did, y'all. Leaving the Viagra pills out. All they pictures crooked on the wall. Extremely quiet. Can't carry a phone conversation. Excessively controlling. Stealing your money, whatever they're doing. Thinking that your residence is now theirs suddenly. Just people when they take over. Lack of patience, things like that. But in your next relationship and in mine, I'm going to have a certain level of patience that's going to make it work out. And I think having more of like a prayer life, getting to know the man or woman. Another thing, stop doing stuff so backwards, right? We always, and it can be a blessing in disguise. A lot of girlfriends and boyfriends you had, they're not meant to be your wife or husband. But if you continue to just have girlfriends and boyfriends, you're going to get a girlfriend or boyfriend outcome. So how did they do it in the old days? Okay. You got married first. A lot of times they met and within 2 months they're married. And then they continue to work together and get to know each other. And a lot of those marriages were abuse free and they lasted a lifetime, y'all. They really did. So not doing things so backwards. I know for a fact, ain't no boyfriend that don't want to marry me. He don't care, y'all. He doesn't care about my outcome at all. He don't care nothing about me. So getting with somebody that has an invested interest, and then these relationships where people living apart for long periods of time, those are heavily violent too. And there's a lot of domestic violence in those situations too, because you know what? Somebody that's not living with you, they're not as accountable for you neither. They just aren't. So getting with somebody that wants to be married, that believes in the one most high, and then you work from there. You'll be less likely to be beat up and abused because that particular man or woman don't have time for it and they're not there for that. And they're more accountable. You're in the same house. They want to marry you. They saying they want to marry you, not beat up on you. But give yourself a little time. This is the thing with marriage, y'all. Okay. Once you enter into a marriage, you're not going to have the same freedom in the way that you used to. You could marry somebody that allows you to have your freedom. I'm not saying marriage can't be free, but I know right now, if I had a husband here, there's things that the husband is going to want me to do. And I'm not talking about just sexual, right? It's a responsibility because now you're a part of making somebody else happy, and you want to take a little time to. This is gonna be the last of your freedom. So if you're gonna be married to this man or woman, and you're living alone and you're used to kind of doing things the way you want to, there can be some fear because now it's going to change. You have a husband, you have a partner now, you have someone that's serious about you. But I truly feel like that will lower the domestic violence outcome for you. Getting to know a person and stop getting boyfriends and girlfriends, and consider people that really want to live with you, cohabitate with you, that actually want a real future, y'all. I think that's really a key to it. And you got to fix your own domestic violence situation. So, like, for example, the son I mentioned that's threatening, that's having the problems. When I get a man or have my boyfriend or any visitors here, I mean, I'm not bringing my new man in that situation. You know, that's why a lot of people may not marry you. I mean, you can't stop your little sons and nephews and nieces and daughters from coming by your house keeping up shit. That's not what I'm going to be bringing my spouse into if I ever was to marry again. So basically reducing other domestic violence situations, because you don't want to put your man in a situation where he got to beat the shit out of your son or daughter or niece or nephew. You don't want to do that. Get the situation under control, get the police involved, still parent the person if you like to. I'm very good-hearted, y'all. I'm going to really try to work with this son, Elijah, my son. I love all my sons, and I'm going to really try to work to try to make it better. Now, at some point, hey, I'm not going to keep letting somebody call me a bunch of bitches for the rest of my life. But they call it a behavior problem, right? It's called a behavior problem. And people can have behavior problems and even be adults. How am I able to talk to a son that talks to me like that? This is how I look at it, y'all. Any man, young boy, teenager, or whatever, that's calling his mom a bunch of bitches, that has saved his ass from getting shot, and willing to hear the police walk up the street just knowing, oh, the police on him again, and you go up the street and there's 40 officers with one tall white one that look like he want to put 18 bullets in him or some shit. I mean, I'm like literally a protector, right? Because the police are less likely to shoot you down when a parent's there, or there's a witness there for you or whatever. So somebody that talks to me like that, I consider it like retardation. This person has to be very retarded, on drugs, and have a very low IQ. And I look at any man like that, any man that's threatening me, name calling, and stuff like that, I'm like, this motherfucker's kind of retarded. They could be calling me retarded, but I'm definitely knowing that that's what they are for real, because they showing a total lack of control that only someone with a low IQ and a low EQ would have. Intelligence is not book smarts. I don't care how well somebody could read. If they ain't got enough sense not to cuss their elders and stuff out, they ain't about shit, and they got some kind of retardation or something broken in the brain. Something is really wrong with this guy. Same way for a girl. I mean, I watched a video. This girl was so damn disrespectful. She going off on the police, her mama. The only person she cared about was the damn little dog or puppy she had, which shouldn't have been bought from her. Bought for her. I did a video about this, and I had uploaded it in private. I got to release it on why not to buy people gifts, and should you be buying them gifts. Because she had totally turned on her mom, the police, borderline. Her grandpa came to get her. That's probably the person she had the most respect for, but she's not respecting her grandpa when she's talking to her mama like that in front of her grandpa. So basically, that's how I feel about that. So it doesn't have to be just a male. This ain't about like only males or abusers. Females and girls and ladies can be the same way. Sometimes worse. It's just all abuse. The girls might actually complete the act, like with the grandma and mom that got killed by her daughter and granddaughter and got put on the barbecue grill. They chopped her up, killed her, was cooking her outside on the barbecue grill and shit. So, and those are girls and ladies that did that to their mom and grandma. All over because she caught them stealing from her, taking money off her credit cards and stuff. But she good-hearted, she letting their ass stay. But that didn't stop them. The daughter, not the granddaughter, didn't actually kill her. The granddaughter's mama did, which is the lady's daughter. So this is her granddaughter and daughter, but the granddaughter is not the one that actually did the murder, but she's in trouble because she was helping her mom hide her grandma's dead body and stuff, like being an accessory to the murder. But she wasn't actually the one that actually killed her grandmother. Her mother was. So it's a very sad situation. So with domestic violence situations, pay attention to the early red flags, because there's always red flags. I've been around hundreds of men, y'all, that I would not have sex with. I could have been killed, but I met men in public places. A couple of them, I stopped by their house. I would only like stand in the doorway if I considered it safe. But when I seen that first weird thing, I got out of there. Now, some people, they just a little strange, y'all, but they are not an abuser. It could be an empath, and they love art, y'all. So I'm gonna give you another example. So say you meet a very nice empath, and he or she, they love to draw, and they can't really draw. They're really bad at it, but they hang their artwork up. That's fine. You don't really need to flee that situation because you've already confirmed that that's an empath. So empaths will have little strange things about them, but it won't be the same vibe that a narcissist gives. An empath, if I go in an empath house and he has his Viagra pills out on the little counter with a bunch of other junk and he see me reading them, he gonna say, oh baby, I'm sorry, let me move these. You cool that I do Viagra or I use Viagra? He gonna be like, he gonna handle that different. He's not gonna be acting entitled, like looking at me like, bitch, don't touch my pills. Because this is how this narcissist was looking at me, and I just got out of this situation. It was a long time ago, but I could do video after video of the weird stuff I saw men do that I did not marry or date or sleep with at all. Like I said, I met hundreds of men that I would not have any sexual relations with because I saw a red flag and I paid attention to it. Out of those 100 men that I have met throughout my life at events, jobs, things like that, y'all. I'm not a street person, but over the years, you meet different people at jobs. I work for a temporary agency. So I'm meeting different men that like me on job sites and stuff. And I've seen a lot of weird behaviors. Some of them I caught them in lies right away. That's a red flag. Catching somebody in lies. I think the best type of man or woman to find is someone that's actually not involved with anybody, somebody that's praying. Um, I wouldn't really too much look at age. I would look at health. I believe you could date somebody 10 years younger, 10 years older, 15 years younger, older. The age really don't matter. You got to look at their health because actually sometimes the older person can be in good health. I wouldn't want to be with a man where I'm like old enough to be his mom. That would be too much of an age gap for me. But a lot of men, you may not be compatible with men your age. Some of them are older, older than you, your same age. They may have more depressions. They may have more addictions that they have not recovered from. So basically, the goal you don't want to be, your goal should be not to be in any domestic violence situations. Thank you for the likes, y'all. Whether it be your son, boyfriends, or whatever. Let me see. I see this comment. Munzin McBam, thank you so much for the emojis. Thank you so much. Daph never did say, hey, guess what? Because, you know, people could tell when you ain't the one for that. So thank you for the 4 likes. I appreciate it so much. So I'll be doing other lives. I'm going to be doing a live about the AI stuff, y'all. I'm going to do a separate live about that. But protect your job as a parental figure or leader is not to contribute to anyone's death. Abusers, with my son Elijah, I love Elijah in my own way, but I don't want him at the house. I don't want him at our jobs. This reduces the desire to harm us. He got to go find him something to do, y'all. It got to be something to do other than threatening me and Isaiah and Daniel. It just has to be something else to do. And from when he was a little boy, he didn't give a fuck about us. This has been ongoing. It's just he's grown up now, right? And the behavior, kids won't follow their teachings. He won't follow the say no to drugs. I taught him all of it's dope. Marijuana, pills, cigarettes, cigars, coffee, edibles, alcohol. It's all a form of dope, is what I taught him. But he's not listening, right? There's no listening. And at the end of the day, you want to be domestic violence free. Fix these situations. So when the Lord sends you somebody in your life, you have a home. A spouse is very important, y'all. Believe it or not, a lot of times you think your adult abusive kids are very important. They're not doing shit for you. Elijah, he's an abuser. I just had to call the police on him a couple of days ago. He's not doing shit for me. And I told him this too. I said, hey man, what do you do for me? What are you spiritually doing for me, man? Abusive kids, they're not doing nothing but starting shit. It's not nothing productive. They're not giving you nothing financially. It's no there's no growth. There's no really happiness coming out of this situation. So with my life, I would rather invest in a spouse than Elijah. What would be my best bet? Move on, because Elijah, he's moved in his own apartment. So I could get a husband. And then that would be a great support to me and Isaiah. We would be a team. It would help with finances and everything. You'll be happier in your life. somebody to hang out with. Um, I love my sons a whole lot, but I do understand that I'm not just limited to my sons, right? I might have a spouse that's very supportive of the regard and love that I have towards my sons. Maybe I would get a spouse that is a good example for my sons and stuff like that. So I feel like that's a better investment, but I gotta have my home free for that. I can't have my abusive son, in my home like that. I'm done. He just can't come here. And making future partners aware of your situation. So if you're considering dating or marrying someone, that person should be aware of the situation. They shouldn't mind marrying you if they see that you got it under control. If I met a man and he had like some abusive kids, as long as I seen him not letting the abusive kids in the house, keeping them in their own residences and stuff like that, I would still, just making sure the person is doing something about it, because you want your spouse to be safe. That way, when you are entering a marriage or serious relationship, y'all are not arguing about your badass kids. Recommendation: when you got badass kids, don't marry somebody with a bunch of badass kids. You don't want to compound this situation. Two people don't need to be in a marriage and each one of them got 6 to 8 badass kids. That's not going to work. So you can find a man that loves kids, that has maybe 1 or 2 like that. But me, I'm pretty much child free. There's no more little kids in my house anymore. My oldest son is still here, but he's not a little kid anymore, right? He's barely home. He's off doing his own thing. Like right here, right now, I'm on this live, I'm home alone. So it reduces a lot of domestic violence. Not having too many men and women around, right? Like, you got to question yourself if you got like 2 or 3 men calling. This may not be a healthy situation. You're on the phone with each man 2 hours a day. Just find you one decent man. That way you'll be able to vet these guys out, and the Lord will be able to show you who your mate could be, and you'll be surprised who your mate could be. But you'll figure it out if you ain't got 8 Negroes calling you. Same way with men. A lot of men, they can surround themselves around more women if they can control their sexual energy. So men are a little different. A man can be around 200 women. If he's not fucking them, he's still gonna know who his wife is. Women are different. We can't do that. I have 10 men calling me, and then I know who the husband is. Because women get way more emotionally attached even before they have sex. But men are different. A man can talk to anybody and not be emotionally invested and be clear that this ain't his wife. And be upfront about that. So basically, yeah. So that's the thing with the domestic violence. Y'all got any questions? Because I do answer questions for free. I hope this helped. Most important part of this live: stop letting your abusive ass kids in your house. Stop doing it. Especially, it's no need to have them in there. My son Elijah has his own apartment. That abuser should not be here. He got his own apartment. He don't get the best of both worlds, to abuse over there his apartment or get abused at his apartment, because both goes on there, and then abuse at my place. Let them stay at their own apartment. It's so many crime cases where the abuser don't even live in the fucking house. Oh, the abuser shot down 10 family members. He don't even live there. He only coming there because nobody has enough sense to stop him from coming. Because narcissists be running those shows. Y'all be thinking them empaths. When narcissists be like, oh, come on now, I want all y'all to be close. Them fucking narcissists. They know y'all gonna shoot each other. And then they get all this attention at your funerals. Oh, my son killed his other brother. They want all this fucking attention. I don't want that attention. I don't want a funeral and one brother then killed the other brother. That's not empathy. I don't have empathy for Isaiah if I keep telling him, you know, well, go on and call your brother. I can pretty much tell how Elijah's going to treat him. It's nothing that Isaiah could do that he says much good about. Elijah finally said, you know, the good reputation Isaiah had. A lot of people said he had heart and stuff like that. I mean, Isaiah's not an abuser. He's not running around abusing people. Me neither. There's not a bunch of people running around saying that type of stuff about me. I stay to myself. I mind my business. I just live my life, y'all. And so this is a perfect video on how maybe to parent. Maybe some people in a situation, or you know people in a situation where the siblings beating each other down. You just had to take one of the siblings to the hospital. Stop encouraging them to be close, y'all. It ain't the time for it. Maybe they could be close when they're 85, but not when they're young and they threatening one another and you got one that's consistently threatening the other siblings. As a mom, no matter Elijah's abusive personality, I talked about this in a live. He's not my favorite. Somebody that's calling me a bunch of bitches and stuff like that is not my favorite. Stop feeling like that's narcissistic teaching, where they teach you that you're not allowed to have a favorite. They all the same. They're not all the same. If one is very abusive and one is not. Sometimes the DNA too strong, y'all. You got to watch who you have your kids by. That's the bottom line. I didn't do enough of that when I was young. I didn't vet baby daddies. I didn't know, I shouldn't fuck with him. If I knew what I knew now, oh my God, I might not have many children. I'm serious. But God made sure I didn't know too much information because they would not have been born. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I'll be doing another live. I appreciate you so much. I'm going to be happy to do the live about the AI, y'all. I got a lot to say about artificial intelligence. It ain't good, y'all. AI, especially as believers, we're going to really have to watch the spirit of artificial intelligence. It's very demonic, and I already see the damage that it's going to be causing to people. AI is already, artificial intelligence is already making fun of people and not looking out for their best interests. It's artificial. You want something artificial? What's best, the real or artificial? Your real hair always gonna be better than artificial hair, right? So believe it or not, artificial intelligence is just not the thing. So I'll be doing a video about that. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for the comments and the likes, and I love y'all so much. Thank you. Bye.